Andrew McCART, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm delighted to be joined all the way in the United States by Mikaela Meyer. Mikaela, like I said off camera there, thanks for doing this for IFL TV. I really appreciate your time. First and foremost, before we start talking boxing, how's things your side of the world?
A little crazy right now, but I made the trip out to DC because, I don't know how long this quarantine is going to last, and I need to stay in shape and be ready for these world titles. So I came out to DC with my teammate Jenny Fuchs, and we're training with our coach and obviously trying to follow all the protocols and, not social distance as best we can, but we got to work. So we're in the gym together.
Definitely, you've got to stay fighting fit. Before we talk about world titles, because I seen your Twitter sort of back and forth with Terri Harper last week, and I do want to talk about that, but I want to sort of break down for the UK fight fans that don't know much about you, Mikaela, is break down your sort of fighting style, when you started boxing and stuff like that. I know you started boxing quite late. I believe it was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I did start boxing late. I started with Muay Thai and then transitioned to boxing. I had my first boxing fight at 18. So usually you start an Olympic sport at a really young age, but I fell in love with the sport right away. I went from going 3 days a week to the girls' classes to asking if I can go to the guys' classes. And I knew within, a month of training, I told myself I wanted to be the best female fighter in the world. And so I just really dedicated myself to it 100%. Kind of got me on a better track with school. I wasn't set to graduate. I was in 4 different high schools by the time I hit my senior year. And so picking up boxing sort of grounded me. Ended up stopped going out on the weekends so I can train 6 days a week. Ended up graduating early. So I just put everything I had into it. And 8 years later, I was on a plane to the Olympic Games. So,
if you don't mind me asking, how did you do in the Olympic Games?
I lost in the quarterfinals to Russia on a split decision. So it was rough coming out of the Olympics. I put so much into it. I competed in, I lost my first round going into the 2012 trials. I didn't make it, so I did 4 more years. And I just thought I was going to get a lot more from competing in the Olympics. Not only just my medal. I didn't get my medal, but I also felt like there was a lot of attention, spent on the more Americanized sports like track and field and swimming and gymnastics. And so I really just didn't feel like I got everything I thought I was going to get from the Olympics. And I was right back training for nationals. And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do for another 4 years. What if, the same thing happens, or if I don't make the team? And I just felt like at that point in my career, I was 26 years old and I had to take a risk. And so I made the decision to turn pro. No boxing promoters were really signing women still at this time, coming out of 2016 games. But I sat down with Top Rank and everything sort of just aligned. And a month later, we had a contract in place and I debuted that year. So we knew that there was no market for women's boxing at the time, but I basically sat down with Top Rank and had to sell myself and said, if there's going to be a female to do it, it's going to be me. Like, I can do it. And so far, so good. I'm really happy with how they've been moving me, and feel like I'm ready for my shots at the world title now.
Well, shall we talk about it then? Should we talk about your world title shot?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, again, for people that don't know, I haven't seen Twitter, there was a sort of back and forth between you and Terri Harper. Eddie Hearn chimed in a little bit as well. You're in the number 1 spot for that WBC title, I believe, which was Eva Wallstrom, but she went to fight Terri Harper. Now, what are your thoughts on that situation? Do you believe, I know that you're quite adamant that you want mandatory positions for female boxers to be like more strict like the men. Are you disappointed in the fact that you didn't get the Eva Wallstrom fight and Terri did?
Yeah, that's really where my issue is. Obviously Terri Harper is a champ now. I don't expect her to take on the number 1 contender right away. I understand that. But I have been number 1 contender in this division for over a year, for a while. And I can't seem to get a title shot. And so when we were in negotiation with Eva Wallstrom, it seemed to be moving along, and we thought we were going to make this fight happen. And then, next day I wake up and she had signed a contract and given it over to Terri Harper. So that's obviously frustrating. Terri obviously is going to do what she can, and her promoter is going to do what she can to get her the fight. But I definitely deserve a shot at this title. And, now it's going to take a little longer to get it. I should have gotten it before Terri, but now she has it. So just know that I'm training and I'm ready to go take it from her.
You said that Terri bought the title. You believe that Eddie Hearn obviously offered more money, so money talks, so to speak. Can you just clarify what you meant by that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. He bought her a shot at the world title. Yeah, he didn't buy the world title. She went in there and beat Ava Wallstrom, as I assumed she would. I think she's a better fighter. I don't think Ava Wallstrom can really fight moving forward or backwards. She sort of just knows how to fight when you're standing right in front of her. Terri is too long, and she has a good jab and a good classic boxing style. So I predicted that she would beat Ava, but my problem was with, Eddie offered her more money and got a fight. She bought her that shot at the world title. I would be more deserving fighter, but that's boxing.
That is boxing. The boxing world's full of politics, as you probably know by now. You've been in the game long enough. There's more politics. It's more like a business than it is a sport sometimes. But go back to Terri Harper. Like she's built up a great following here in the UK. Being stateside, you must have heard of the UK boxing fans, what we're like over here. Terry's built up a huge following now in the UK. Would you be willing to come to the UK to face Terri and take that title from her?
Yeah, that's what I gotta do. I gotta do that. She's the champ now, so I assume that she'll have more pull when it comes to the card we're on and where it's gonna be held. So, I gotta do what I gotta do. Obviously, I would want to win my world title here in the United States, but if I have to go over there and take it to get it back here, then yeah, I'll let the promoters figure that out. But I'm willing to do what I gotta do. Yeah.
Obviously, I think your last fight was in October. Obviously, with everything that's going on with the coronavirus, it looks like it might be close to a year before you even step foot in the ring. Do you think that you need a sort of warm-up fight? Well, me too. I want to get back to doing what I love. Do you think that this Terri Harper fight won't happen until maybe 2021 now?
Yeah, I mean, her and Eddie have clearly stated that they won't be giving me this fight right away. They have one or two other people, I assume 2 or 3 that they're going to give before they even come at me with a conversation. So I'm going to go after the other belts until then. Obviously, after this quarantine is up, there's still probably going to be a travel ban. So I'm assuming that my next fight will have to be against an American, but I'm hoping that'll be soon. And then I want to go after the WBO. Ewa Brodnicka has already announced after her last fight, after we've been asking for it, it didn't go through. Finally, after her last fight, she announced that she's willing to take the fight against me. So we're hoping to make that happen. And then, like I said, Terri Harper is going to have to go through me to be undisputed champion, because I'm definitely going to get a belt before she goes and collects all 4. I mean, it's going to happen. So maybe when we do step in the ring, it'll be to unify.
How do you beat Terri Harper then? Because again, like she's a good little fighter. I've seen her live a few times. She's a very, very good compact fighter. How do you go in there to beat Terri Harper? And do you think that you could probably get the stoppage over her, or is it going to be a grueling fight?
Like I said, Terri is a good classic boxer. Good jab, can box from the outside, but really that's all she can do. I'm more well-rounded as a fighter. I can take the fight into a lot of different positions, and I'm stronger. I'm way stronger than her. I just have more fight in me, more fierceness, and I just know that I'm going to overwhelm her with my pressure and my strength. And whether I fight her on the outside or the inside, because I can do both, and I feel like she is only a one-dimensional type boxer.
I've got to say, Mikaela, the way you're talking and the way Terri is, I'm looking forward to this fight when it gets made. I think the press conference in a way might be more livelier than the fight because the way your personalities are. So I'm definitely.
Well, I've been really patient, and I am just ready. I'm just ready to show the world that I'm the best in this division, and I'm finally a little bit frustrated. The quarantine didn't help. They canceled my fight a day before I was supposed to fly out to New York to fight at the Garden, and so now this is happening, and I'm frustrated. I'm ready to get in there and show that I'm the best and collect all the titles, in this division, so I can move up and do it in another division. Like, I'm ready for the fights. Like, I'm 3 years now. I've been pro. In August, it'll be 3 years. So I'm tired of waiting. Yeah, I've had my experience, and I'm just ready. I feel like I'm peaking as an athlete, and I just want to show that.
Definitely. Like, you're saying the undisputed fight. So we've seen Claressa Shields do it. We've seen Katie Taylor become undisputed. Is that your sort of goal now, is become undisputed and then maybe move up and do the same again and move up and move up?
Absolutely. I mean, I honestly didn't expect to go undisputed at 130, because all of a sudden, like, this weight class has just, there's so much competition now in this weight class, and everyone's so hungry for the titles. But when I first came into this division, there was 4 world champions, and none of them had unified, nor was there much talk about them unifying. So I think the girls that kind of stepped into this division are like stirring it up, and we want those title shots, and we're forcing these unification bouts, and it's starting to happen. So I'm really excited about the 130-pound division, and now I'm eager to show them the best in it before I'm moving up. You know, I thought 135 was where the bigger fights were, but 130 is proving to be a really competitive weight class, like in this last year and a half.
We're saying that Katie Taylor's in that weight class. Now, Katie sort of, along with Claressa Shields, has been flying the flag for women's boxing. Katie Taylor's in and around your, Katie Taylor's in and around your weight class. Is that a fighter you've got your eye on as well? Somebody like Katie Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, that is what my goal was, to get up there to 135 and go against someone like Katie Taylor. And I always envisioned that happening. And I still envision that happening, absolutely happening. And, you know, that fight has been talked about here and there for a long time. And that's going to be really exciting. But now I have a couple other people I want to get through. You know, I want to get through Terri Harper. I want to get all these belts at 130 finally unified for like the first time ever. So I want to prove that I'm the one at the top of this division before I take on that next weight class. It's just something that I'm hungry to do now.
When you look at women's boxing, it's buzzing at the moment. You know what I mean? You've got Claressa Shields, you've got yourself, Terri Harper, Katie Taylor. Yeah. There's women all over the place now. Back in the day, it was maybe Layla Ali, and then it was just Layla Ali. You know, now there's household names everywhere, and you're a part of that. How does that excite you? The fact that women's boxing is buzzing at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, well, I tweeted the other day that after the whole Terri Harper back and forth on Twitter, I was just like, this is only the second wave of women's boxing, and the first one with Layla Ali and Mia St. John and, you know, everyone back then, it really died out because there was no support from society or the Olympic movement. You know, we weren't allowed to compete in the Olympics. Promoters weren't signing women, just those few names. And then it just died out for like a decade. There was nothing, right? But now the women that are, you know, the forefront of this whole boxing movement are the pioneers of the movement that's going to stick around. This is going to stay because the talent pool is too deep now. You have too many young girls. When I first started, you go into a gym and maybe I was the only female. I usually was. Now you have tons of little girls who are starting super young, and we're allowed to compete in the Olympics, and we have this ladder to climb. And now the women that are pro are paving that path to turn pro, which there really wasn't a path before. You know, I had this vision of what I was going to do, and I was kind of like molding it along the way. There was no set path for me. And so now hopefully by the end of our generation, you know, girls have a way to a path to follow into the pros, and if that's something that they want to do for the Olympics.
That definitely, like this Olympic Games that was coming up in Tokyo, I think that a lot of girls, a lot of women were going in there, and then I believe that they were going to come out and turn pro and just make the talent pool, because it's a shallow pool at the moment, if you don't mind me saying. It's a shallow pool of talent with the female boxing, but I think after the Tokyo Olympics it was just going to expand. Yeah. I want to just touch on, I've got two more questions because I know you've got a training session soon, you're in the gym soon, but the 2-minute rounds, do you want to see women fight 3-minute rounds rather than the 2?
I do, and I'll tell you my evolving idea about this, because it started out when I first turned pro. Todd DeBuff asked me that. He's like, well, we're not going to pay you more to go 3-minute rounds. So, and I'm like, you're right. And I also didn't know what it was like to fight a 10 2-minute round fight. As I started fighting, you know, we started 4, 6 rounds, 8 rounds. I was like fighting 6-round fights and on the verge of stopping them. Like I knew if I had 1 or 2 more rounds, I would have gotten the knockout. And I've just proven myself, like in my opinion, to be a longer round fighter, like a better pro than I was an amateur. I get better as the rounds go on. So now that I've learned that about myself and actually been in the ring and like forming like a real opinion, I do want the 3-minute rounds. Absolutely. And I feel like if I did, I'd be 12-0, 12 knockouts. Like I'm better towards the end of that fight.
Yeah, but you break your opponents down rather than that 1 KO punch sort of thing.
What? Sorry.
You break your opponents down rather than just having that 1 KO punch.
I do. I break my opponents down, and like I'm a boxer, but I think I'm a boxer puncher. Like I put the pressure on. I didn't really know that I was that type of fighter until I turned pro, because you don't really train, you know, pressing the body and go into the inside, and it's more like point style. So I just had a different mentality. Now that I've been training more of a pro style, like that's what I'm good at. That's what I like. I like hunting you down, I like breaking you down. I like going to the body, even though I'm tall and long and I can box. But that, I feel like that just makes me more of a threat because I can do both.
Definitely. Finally, before I let you go, Mikaela, because you do have that training session and I do want you to go to it.
Thank you.
Who is the pound for pound number 1? This side of the pond, we believe it's Katie Taylor, and I believe on your side of the pond, everyone thinks it's Claressa Shields. in your opinion, who's pound for pound number one in the women's boxing?
Oh, wow. No one's ever asked me that question. I honestly don't know. Like, if you compare what Katie Taylor has done and what Claressa Shields has done, it's like, in the amount of time, it's very, very similar. You know, they've done this all in the short amount of time. They're both the current unified champions. Like, I really couldn't tell you which one I think is pound for pound. I think they're both great, and I think they're both going down in history. You know, I've looked up Claressa Shields as my Olympic sister for life. I've looked up to Katie Taylor coming up. Like, you know, she was the best in the amateurs, and so I have respect for both of them and what they've done for boxing. I just, you know, I would never want to point the finger because I just think they're both great.
That's fair enough. I won't press you on this issue then.
But
Mikaela,
definitely them too. If I had to choose, yes. I do believe.
well, thank you so much. I've got to say thank you for understanding my Scottish accent as well, Yoni. I do appreciate that.
Okay, we trained with Billy Walsh for how long? So we're used to dealing with accents.
Oh, there you go. Then there you go. I should have tried not to hide my accent, but again, well done. I do appreciate that. Mikaela, thanks for doing Spyfield TV. I hope you enjoy your training session. I hope it isn't too grueling, and I'm looking forward to the Terri Harper fight when it happens. Again, thank you so much for this.
Me too. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon. Hopefully see you out there soon.